Oh, I forgot the mic. I do not know how I did not fucking smack the fuck out of this guy. I really don't know. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Faiza Ramuni and this is going to be part 8. I don't know why I held my hand up. I don't have 8 fingers on one hand, you big old stupid. But this is going to be part 8 of the X-Files. Bismillah. Pan decided that we should meet up one night. And by we, I mean Nadine, Masadi, and I. We all come together as a group and go out to dinner, hang out for the night. I think his intention was really just to try to get everybody together and let them be reminded of how beautiful, the times were that we spent together. Primarily Masadi and Nadine at this point, okay? Because it was pretty apparent that, oh man, that things just were not headed in a good direction at all. I mean, a blind person would have been able to pick up on the vibration of discourse, truly. So it seemed like Pam was trying to get us together to just bring the vibe back into harmony. We meet up for dinner. We all vibe. The conversation was good. Nadine and Masadi were getting along. Gosh, everything seemed good. That's like, even as I think back, that's one of the things that was so hard for me as I was healing through this journey. Once I got out of the relationship and everything, the healing process really started, was remembering moments like that and being like, gosh, everything seems so fine. Because I would look back and I would remember, gosh, how happy everybody was. Like the laughter and the smiles and I mean, the love that was still there, no matter how, I don't know. So you can only imagine how afterwards, one of the hardest parts of my healing process, as I was saying, was to look back and to try to figure out what was truth, because you could be seeing people so entirely happy and everything seems amazing, but it's horrible. One of the hardest things for me to look back and to remember moments like that and to have to develop such sharp discernment that to know the difference between what's real and what's not. Oh boy. Yes, suffered into that wisdom for sure. Oh, it is a blessing and a curse to have sharp discernment. A blessing and a curse. I realize now that's why fake people don't like being around me. That's why I can't be around phony balonies for too long. That's why I don't like glass houses in my company for too long. And let me tell you, putting this on the record, I can recognize them so well, not only because of what I experienced, but because of a part of that existed within myself too. No hypocrisy here. There was a part of me that was a hypocrite, that was a glass house, that was sitting around living a double life. So I was able to recognize that and sharpened my discernment to know the difference. But at that moment, oh boy, everything looked perfect. Everything looked perfect. I was, ooh, don't touch your hair, girlfriend. Stupid, what's wrong with you? Worked too hard on this bun. We take a walk as usual. That's what we always did after dinner. And Nadine took that moment to tell me, to whisper like really low, that she needed to talk to me. Now, I wanted to know right there. I can't wait on stuff like that. Like if you say you have to tell me something, tell me it right there. And she goes, no, I have to tell you when you're alone. And I'm like, okay, all right, that's fine. And I waited till I was counting down, to be honest. I was like, oh gosh, is the night going to come to a close? Because again, the way my mind works, I cannot take that buildup and anticipation of you have to tell me something, but you haven't told it to me yet. Okay, I just can't take it. So I'm like, oh gosh, I hope the night comes to an end as quick as possible so I can hear what she has to say. Because I started like replaying everything that was happening on the date and thinking, did I miss something? And if I did, what was it? Well, like, what did I not see here? What did I not pick up on? And so I was counting down the minutes till this night came to an end. We hung out for a little bit longer. We had gone actually to one part of the pier where you can sit down and just look out at the lake. And we were sitting there maybe not even for 5 minutes before Pan gets a text message saying that he has to go to work. And of course I'm thinking, oh, thank God. Because I want to hear whatever Nadine has to tell me. So Pan turns to me, he's like, babe, I got to go to work. Of course, I always understood when Pan had to go to work. I'm like, go work. And so Masadi says, I'm going to work with Pan. So the moment that Pan drops me off and Masadi drops Nadine off, we're on the phone. I'm like, girl, what's going on? Nadine tells me that she's decided to make the hard decision to get a divorce from Masadi. Which, of course, again, brings me back to what I said earlier about that feeling of never knowing what's real or when shit's about to hit the fan. I had already said many times that I believed that was going to happen. Everything that had happened, so much that I didn't even share, it was going to happen. It was going to happen. A lot of things that guys don't realize in situations like this is it takes a woman a hell of a lot to get to the point to walk away. All right. And when she has decided to walk away, she has exhausted every possible scenario and has forgiven every unforgivable action and word or thing said, that she's done. That's it. Once you get to that point, there is no coming back. And Nadine was there, and she said that she had not only made the decision to leave Massaudi, but that when they got the divorce, she was going to be moving out of Illinois. Ugh, this fell on me so hard. Again, I'm putting it out there. I was selfish about it, okay? It hit me really hard. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my best friend. And I was happy that she was going to be leaving a horrible, horrible situation. But I was also like selfishly thinking, I'm going to lose my friend. People could say long distance doesn't necessarily change anything. And in certain friendships, it doesn't. But in others, it does. And I was afraid that we would be in that group, the group that could not survive that transition. She tells me about her decision. And I ask her, when are you going to tell him? And she says, when the vibe is right. She's like, I'm not ready just yet. I'm going to figure a few things out, save some money so I can make the transition, and then I'm going to tell him. So she had every reason to believe he would do something crazy. That vibe did not come for months. But a lot of stuff had changed in that time. Like my birthday rolled around again, but this time Pan did not celebrate it. I feel like I can make a whole part about my birthday. I'll just say that Pan did not celebrate it this time. What ended up happening was that he needed help with a business deal he was trying to close, and he asked me to accompany him to the meeting to try to just like soften things up. We did. Everything went amazing. He closed the deal, and he showed his gratitude by getting me a birthday card and some cold calamari. Yeah. Ended up going back to the hotel, eating the calamari, go to bed, went home the next day. It was nothing, not even a fraction close to what had happened in the first birthday at all. At that time, I felt very happy because I'm like, at least he got his deal closed out, and that's what matters, right? And I also think that I believed that he was going to make it up, which he did not. But I thought that he would. I thought that he would see how understanding I was that day and that I was so patient with everything that he would say, well, you know what, let's redo the birthday. That did not happen. Pan's birthday rolls around. He loved mobster, like movies and shows and stuff like that. So I got him a private mob tour of the famous like mob spots in Chicago, which there are plenty. And so I got him a private tour of that for the two of us and got him a beautiful dinner at the Signature Room. He also loved like the way Italian guys would always wear like those silver chains. So I got him like same silver chain. And what else did I do? Oh, a champagne bottle with his favorite picture of us on it, which he was so shocked about. He's like, how did you do that? And I thought of everything, you know? I actually feel like I could do a whole part on just both our birthdays and how it was celebrated. But again, to keep things sort of short, we ended up getting on the private tour bus, see the first spot, go back into the bus. And Pan whispers to me because, you know, he didn't want the tour guide to hear. He's like, I'm really bored. I just want to get off the bus the next stop. And I'm like, babe, are you serious? He starts laughing. He's like, oh, I thought it was going to be so different. But now that we're here, I'm bored. And I'm like, well, why don't we wait it out till the end to make that decision? Like we just started. Maybe the first spot may not be the most exciting, but like as it goes on and we build and, you know, get deeper into the city, it's going to be very exciting, I promise. And he's like, no, I really just want to get off. So then when we got to the next spot, Pan tells the tour guide that we were going to just go ahead and go on our own at that point. I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh gosh, I picked the wrong gift, but also like, you know, just the whole thing was just awkward. So Pan's birthday rolls around. In that time, I also got my license. Yes, Pan had insisted that I get my license. And so I had started, you know, he started teaching me how to drive around certain parking lots. So it found me getting my license at the age of 30. And even though I did roll a stop sign, he said I had a nice smile, so he let me go. I was like, thank you very much. I got to just get it. And was like, I know exactly how you can put that license and driving skills into use, right? By driving Massaudi, Nadine, him and I to Miami. Oh, I was so excited. So we meet up that night with Nadine and Massaudi, who are still together at this point. And Pan says, I know how we could celebrate Faiza getting her license at 30. We could go to Miami. Nadine and Masadi are like, we're in 100%. And we were all very, very excited. So we get the car rental in place, hotel. Masadi even messaged Pan about like, tell me what hotel you got, you booked so I can get the same place. And so everything was like set to go. It's the morning of the trip and we haven't heard anything from Nadine and Masadi. And I'm like, uh-oh, like something just felt off, right? And Pan's like, I don't know, like something was off with Masadi last night. I don't really know if they're gonna come. And Pan's already planning that if for any reason they weren't to come, we still do our trip. We still, we have the car set, we have the hotel set, so we might as well go. And now at that point, I'm a little bummed because I'm thinking, well, my excitement was going to be able to be there with Nadine. Not that I wasn't excited to go on the trip with Pan, but I was going to see it as a semi-girls trip. I call and text Nadine a few times, nothing. So I'm getting worried at this point. I'm thinking, la samahallah, God forbid something happened, right? And then I get a text message back after a few calls and Nadine says, we're not going to be able to make it for the trip. This guy's unreal. And I still remember the text clearly because I was so happy to hear from her. She continues to text me telling me how Masadi had snapped that night. Everything just went crazy and they had gotten into a big argument and Masadi had gone into one of his enraged episodes. So she got her stuff and she left the house to go back home with her mom. Just as I'm about to tell Pan, I don't think they're coming, Masadi calls Pan. And Pan excuses himself. They go off and he talks to him. When Pan comes back, he tells me what I already knew, which was that they were not going to come on the trip. But he adds that he doesn't trust Nadine. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. Here we go. These guys just love to accuse women of infidelity because they don't want to see their own shit. You got to love it. So I'm like, why? What happened? And he's like, supposedly she's at her mom's house right now. I guarantee you she's not at her mom's house. I guarantee you. I still remember him saying that over and over. Subhanallah, subhanallah, subhanallah. And say it with me. Subhanallah. How God works. Right at that moment, Nadine FaceTimes me. I answer the FaceTime. Where's Nadine? At home with her mom. At home with her mom. And you should have seen how stupid Pan's face looked. How stupid to be proven so wrong, to be playing with a woman's reputation and to be found out that you were wrong, right? And Nadine starts apologizing to Pan and I saying, I'm so sorry, guys. I just, things are just a little crazy right now that we couldn't make the trip. She didn't say anything about Masadi at all. She just said, I'm sorry, we couldn't make it. Inshallah next time. Start driving over. I drove the whole way. I mean, we stopped for gas, stopped for lunch, but there was no hotel break. Your girl drove all the way to Miami, okay? And I still remember when we pulled up to the hotel, Pan goes, oh, baby, you're a soldier. You're a soldier. Because I could barely even move by the time I got out of that car. But I loved, and I still do, I love to drive. I don't mind how far, whatever. Get me in the car and I will drive, right? Although I love to be driven, okay? I don't want my soulmate to be watching this and be like, oh, okay, I'll just go ahead and just let you drive all the time then, Habib, because you want to drive. I don't even know why he has an accent because I don't want an Arab. No, thank you. Hey, if a good one comes along, why not? But, I just don't want my soulmate to look like, oh, well, you could drive all the time. You could drive all the time, then, honey, I'll just let you drive. It's like, no, I want to be driven. I want to be a passenger empress. Period. Okay, so we get to the hotel. I could do nothing. I went on that bed and I fell asleep. I was exhausted, okay? So our day really did not start in Miami till the next morning. When we get up the next morning, I'm gonna say waking up in Miami was so different from waking up in Chicago. Just like the sounds, the vibe, the air, just everything. Even the birds just sound different. I don't know how to explain it. It just sounded very different. And Pan goes, we need to get to the beach. Like now. And of course I'm like, let's go. Because I love Lake Michigan. Don't get me wrong. # Chicago forever. Period. But there is nothing like the Atlantic. So I was so excited. Not only to be by the ocean, the Atlantic, to see it again, but also because your girl was going to be wearing a bikini top for the first time. I was going to be wearing my first bikini top. I mean, I felt guilty, don't get me wrong. Okay, and I made sure Allah necklace to the side. Okay, I was so excited. It was white. Okay, it had like a matching, obviously, but I wasn't going to wear the bottom part because it just felt too exposed with the bottom part. So I put on a pair of jean shorts and a white bikini top, triangular. It was adorable. Period. I feel like the Haram police just passed out. Are you okay? I come out of the bathroom. Pan sees me. He goes, wow, why aren't you wearing the bottom part? And I was like, I'm just not comfortable with that. I feel like it's a little bit too much. So this feels fine for me. And he's like, all right, head over to the beach. And oh my gosh, it was so beautiful. We ate, we watched the waves, we hung out in the sand, we just sat there and talked, painted a little bit. Gosh, just enjoyed the moment. I was so happy. So happy. Everything felt so free. Everything felt so peaceful. The moment, being there with Pan, it was like, this could be our lives. Traveling to different places, seeing beautiful moments like this, having these moments of beautiful, beautiful peace. And I still remember I was like standing looking out at the ocean, just thinking this to myself. And Pan goes, babe. And I turned around and he took a picture of me. Post the picture if you can, girlfriend. If your stomach's not showing, post the picture here. Because I don't remember if you could see my stomach on the side or I could just try to cover it. I'm going to start crying. I just look at that girl's face and she was so different. So different. So innocent, so naive, so like I trusted so easily. That's who you're seeing in that picture if you get to see it. And somebody who was very self-conscious about her nose. I was like blurring my nose when I tried to edit the picture. I was like, blur, please don't look so wide. Now I love my nose. But at that time, I remember that. I was like trying to just, so you don't see the side, please. But yeah, that's what you were seeing there. When we decided to leave the beach, Pan says about getting some scooters. So, or a scooter, I'm sorry. We go over to the place, rent the scooter, and Pan starts, like, we just start driving around the whole city. And I still remember Pan making jokes like, oh my God, I hope I don't kill us on here. Oh my God, I hope I don't crash into something. And I'm like, stop saying that, stupid. What's wrong with you? Don't say that when I'm right behind you, stupid. We drive back to the hotel and rest a little bit before dinner. Get up, get ourselves ready for dinner, and wearing all black, of course, my favorite color of colors, And I'm really not proving that point by constantly wearing color in these videos. I feel like I should. What's wrong with me? I have to reset to factory settings. We get dressed up, take a few pictures, and I'm very much like Selena Gomez in a relationship. I can't keep my hands to myself, And I love to hold and to touch and to feel. And one of the many things that made me fall so deeply for Pan was whenever I wanted to hold Pan, to touch Pan, or vice versa, he never pushed me away. Never. He never made me feel disgusting for wanting to hold his hand, for wanting to hug him, for wanting to kiss him, and vice versa. I never got judged for that. The way that the culture or even, certain parts of my family looked at touch, because I don't come from a family that there's PDA like that. Like, it was never, there's something wrong with you for wanting to be held. There's something wrong with you for wanting to hold hands. Nothing like that ever. He never pushed me away. He never judged me for it. He always was there with open arms, quite literally. And for someone like myself who always craved that but didn't receive it, it was easy to fall for somebody like that. We ended up going to this beautiful dinner spot, and while we're having dinner, this woman approaches our table and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are such a beautiful couple. Do you want to go to a party?" She just like started going into conversation. It was so odd. I'd never experienced anything like that. So I'm like, who is this right now? And then I think she could tell that we were a little bit like, what the fuck is this right now? She says to us, "I'm not going to bullshit you guys. I have a space that I need to fill tonight for a party, and it has a good DJ, good food, good view of the strip. So if you want to come, that would be amazing. You can get all that for free. You don't have to spend any money on drinks or anything tonight." And Pan goes, "Okay." And I jokingly, but not really jokingly, say, "Oh, okay, thanks for asking me." We're all laughing, and then Pan's like, "No, it's going to be fun." She's like, "Yeah, it's going to be fun, I promise you." She gives Pan her number, says to text her when we're there so she could let us in, and then goes off on her way. The whole thing was so odd, you guys. That's very normal. Like, it just wasn't something that I had ever experienced until that point. So when she walks away, I tell Pan, I'm like, how do you know, like, they're not going to kidnap us? Like, again, I'm from the south side of Chicago. Like, the whole thing was just odd. Like, that's not something that would have been very second nature. Like, it would have been like, who the fuck are you? Why are you at this table? Move it along, honey, right? And there was Pan like, oh, he had probably a second of like, what the fuck? And then it just all passed. He seemed so trusting where I was like, I don't know. And he's like, "No, this is very normal. This is what people do when they have certain parties for people and certain celebrities, and they need to fill the space, make it look like the person's popular." Again, I'd never experienced anything like that. Didn't know that was a thing. So we finish our dinner, and then we walk over to Ocean Drive. What do I tell you guys about the walk down Ocean Drive? I have never in my life seen anything like what it was walking down Ocean Drive. It was Vegas, but outdoors. It's a hard adjustment for Muslim girls to see certain parts of American culture that just contradicts everything we're used to. What's second nature for so many others is it's just not for us. Like, it might be totally normal to see a woman with like pasties on a pole, like twirling around doing her thing, dancing quite well, honey. But for me, it was like, whoo, what? Oh my goodness. It was a whole new world on crack. I didn't know if I was mortified or excited. It felt like being in a position where both worlds, like the saintly and sinner side, were stitched together, and you're just there between them, like just enough glitter and just enough guilt. Oh boy, what an adjustment. Just what an adjustment. And the way the girls were dressed too. I mean, they were barely clothed. So as we're walking down Ocean Drive, I'm watching Pan like this. But at the point that we walked down that strip, Pan and I, he wasn't looking anywhere else. He was focused straight ahead, and us just walking straight ahead. We get past that street, and Pan says, "Let's go to that party that lady was talking about." And he pulls out his phone, he texts her, and it was like this woman fucking teleported to that corner, because he texted her and she popped up. And I'm like, hi? Like, ma'am? How did you get here? Like, she must have been waiting around that corner, or she was stalking us. One or the other. She's like, "Oh my God, I'm so excited you guys texted me. You're a beautiful couple. You're going to love this place. They're going to love you," right? And I'm like, they're going to love us. Who is they? What are we being invited to right now? So I look over at Pan and give him like a look like, hello, are we going to be okay? And he's like, chill. Pan didn't seem worried at all. And so because he was so chill, I even minutely felt comforted by that. I'm like, well, if he seems okay, it must be okay. We're going to be okay. But I also felt terrified by how comforted he was, like that he would feel like that was so safe. Those moments always bothered me because I didn't feel safe or factored in at all. It felt like what he wanted to do became what happened. And if I felt comfortable with that or I felt safe there, oh well, wow, I'm with somebody who would be so comfortable just putting me in a situation I don't want to be in. And then on the flip side, I would also get angry at myself because I'm like, well, bitch, you could turn around and go right back to the hotel. Right? You don't have to be here right now. We get to the party. It's, oh my gosh, what a party. never seen anything like that before. Apparently it was like some really wealthy person's party. I think it was some guy. I don't really know. But some wealthy person's party. It may have even been their birthday. I'm not sure, but it was a very nice party. There were drinks everywhere, appetizers, like different types of food, little burgers and stuff. So we took advantage of the food and the drinks and the scene and the beauty. She was right. Everything she had said was exactly what the party was. I mean, I was a little, shocked by that. I'm like, oh, wow. She was right. Okay. And nobody was approaching us. Nobody was acting weird. It was really just a party full of people. By the time we left, your girl was drunk. Hello. I was drunk, and Pan puts me on his back to the hotel. There was something just so beautiful about that moment, just being held by him in that way. It felt so intimate. It felt, I don't know, like for the longest time I had been feeling like I was holding Pan on my back, and now he was actually quite literally holding me on his. And I don't know how to explain it. It was probably doesn't even make any sense, and if it doesn't, oh well. It was a beautiful time. I will say that. It was a beautiful time, and that beauty lasted a couple of more days in the trip. Even as I had sunburn all over my back, oh my gosh, guys, I had blisters. I am very photosensitive. I can't be in the sun for too long. I don't know how I have Arab blood and I'm photosensitive, but here we are. Your girl cannot be in the sun too long, all right? I was blistered up all over my back, red. I mean, it was bad, guys. It was bad. And even with that, I had an amazing time. The days were going beautiful until our last full day. Started off pretty normal. We ended up going to the beach, hanging out there, and we find ourselves getting ready for dinner. And there was a moment where I'm standing in front of the mirror, and Pan comes behind, takes some pictures and stuff. And he asks me, he says, "Do you know what would make me really happy?" And I'm like, oh my gosh, of course, tell me. And Pan replies with, "If we add somebody else to the picture." And at first, I was very naive. I did not understand. I'm like, what do you mean? What picture? And he winks at me. And it clicked. I'm like, oh my God, is this guy asking me for a threesome? Like, is that what is, am I misunderstanding something right now? I wanted to cry. I was shocked. I didn't say anything at first. I just stared at him. I didn't know what to say. I was so shocked. I could have imagined a lot of things in that relationship, but I couldn't have imagined that. I couldn't have imagined being asked that question. And so I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. And then he goes, "No, I'm just kidding, babe. Come here. But it was not a joke. It was not a joke. And it didn't feel like a joke. Nothing about it was a joke. And he kept insisting, no, it's a joke. I promise you it's a joke. We head over to dinner. And even at dinner, I had a very hard time trying to soften up. I really did. It was not easy to soften up after that. And I was quiet. And he says to me, he's like, "Are you going to just sit there quiet the whole night? Really? Is that how we're going to do our dinner?" And I said, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to feel right now. I remember at one point in dinner, he reaches over and he takes my hand and he says, "You're so beautiful." I didn't even believe it. I'm like, oh, please. Coming from the guy who just asked for a threesome. I felt like he had broke me in that room. My logic at that point was like, him breaking my wrist was not as bad as him breaking my heart. That was my logic. Like, wow, I can't believe he said something like that to me. He just broke my heart. And it's like, well, bitch, he broke your wrist. That's worse. Leave. And this is one of those moments I should have done the same thing. Got up and walked the fuck out of that restaurant and never saw him again. Never, right? That's what I should have done. I mean, of course, now I have a very different mentality. If I could lose you to another woman, you want to add somebody else to the mix, go to that other person. I don't want you. I don't know how many times I have to say I'm a very selfish person. I have that person, you are mine, I am yours. That's it. Done. Everybody else is an intrusion. If you could be willing to share me, that is not love to me. That is not love to me. So I'm already starting to realize how different everything is between Pan and I, but also seeing a side of him that I wasn't prepared for. Like, first about the porno comment. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go to part 6 of the X-Files and rewatch that. First was the porn comment, then this, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, here you are, a Muslim man wanting a innocent woman and wanting a woman who has virtue and morals, as he would always say, right? But he was lacking so many of them. He was lacking them himself, right? Pan was doing everything he could to try to bring me around, and it wasn't working because at this time, when I got into those moods where I would shut down like that, I didn't realize that was such a trauma response. There was no way to get me out of that. There was no way. I had to just do it myself. All right. I had to start convincing my brain that I was safe and I was okay and that I can actually trust this individual again. And that was a process that had to happen. And then the waitress comes over to our table. She's a beautiful girl. And what does she do? She starts flirting with Pan, which only made the whole thing worse. And I'm seeing her flirt with him, which probably she's flirting with him because she's figuring he's paying. She wants to get a good tip. But still, it was disrespectful. I mean, I'm sitting right there. Honey, what happened to girls? Now, today, that would play out very differently. But at that time, okay, didn't know what to do. So my dumbass just sat there watching them go back and forth. That's what I do to myself in my brain every time I remember it. Make our order. She goes off. And at this point, Pan, again, takes my hand, trying to make things better. I was just shut down. So I didn't really say anything. I'm just, yeah, okay. Not a pleasant person to be at dinner with, I will say, but very well deserved considering the circumstance. Pan says to me, this is our last night in Miami. You can at least smile. I get so upset. I'm like, stop telling me to smile, especially after what you just said in the hotel. And he's getting upset and he's like, you don't know how to take a joke? It was a joke, huh? You don't know what a joke is? And I'm like, oh, okay. So what if I was to joke and say that I would like to add another man to the mix, right? Oh, but I'm just joking. How does that feel? And he goes, you really want to piss me off right now, right? Is that what you want to do? You really want to fucking piss me off right now, huh? And I say to him, oh, okay, so it would piss you off for another man to be added, but I'm supposed to be okay with you wanting to add another woman. I'm supposed to be okay with that and not feel disrespected by it, right? And then Pan goes, well, I'm kidding. You know I'm kidding. You know it's a joke when I say it. You actually mean that. The manipulative mind games were unreal. Waitress comes back with our food. We end up eating dinner. Awkward dinner. Pretty much quiet. And by the time we get to dessert, the waitress comes back and she's like, would you guys like any dessert? Pan goes, well, could you give us a minute? And she goes, okay. She walks away. At this point, Pan takes my hand. He starts kissing it, trying to comfort me again, being like, babe, listen, I love you. I love you. I'll always protect you. I'll always take care of you. And all I'm thinking is blah, 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 blah. And he says to me, the waitress seems like she would be in. And I'm like, even though I already knew the answer, I'm like, in for what? And he goes, I think she would be in. She's looking like she would really be in. And just then, waitress comes back over to our table and she asks if we had a chance to look at the dessert menu and if we wanted anything or just the check. And Pan goes, babe, did you want to ask her anything? Oh, guys. I forgot the mic. I do not know how I did not fucking smack the fuck out of this guy. I really don't know. He got me when I did not love myself. Oh boy. And I looked at her and I'm like, no, we're good. Thank you so much. And she says she'll go get the check. And Pan looks over at me and he's smiling. And I was like, oh my God. So fucking done with this guy. I am so fucking done with this guy. It's just so upsetting to look at your old self, and sometimes I can't believe what I allowed. From dinner, we leave. I couldn't even look at Pan. I couldn't even fucking look at him. I was so disgusted by him. And the whole time he's trying to reach for my hand, I'm moving his hand away. It was the first time I'd ever done something like that, ever. Because remember how I said about when touch was so important, that whenever I wanted to hold him, to touch him, to hold his hand, he let that happen, and vice versa. And there I was, for the first time in that relationship, pushing his touch away. I didn't want him touching me. I didn't want him showing me any sort of affection at all. I was like, you don't even mean any of that. I didn't trust anything he was saying. We get back to the hotel room. Pan goes out to smoke a cigarette on the balcony, and I go straight to bed. And at first I'm just pretending to sleep because I didn't want anything from him. I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want to look at him, nothing. And he was out there for quite a while because I fell asleep. Next morning, we are flying out early, so we had to be up very early, like 4 a.m. And I finished packing the rest of my stuff that I wasn't able to do the night before because of the whole argument. And Pan does the same, and we head out to order the Uber. And while we're waiting for the Uber to come, I was sitting in one of the chairs. It was still dark out, and the sky, oh my gosh, the sky was beautiful. You could see stars. And at this point, I was living in Chicago. You really couldn't see stars like that. Sometimes you could, but you couldn't really see it that way. I had seen a lot more, maybe not as many as you can out in the country. I live in the country now, in the country. Oh my gosh, I can see the Orion's belt. It's beautiful. But I could see a lot more in Miami than I was able to see in Chicago. So it was beautiful, and I'm looking up at the sky, and I remember locking eyes with one particular star, and I wished for things to change between Pan and I. I felt like every time something was good, something shitty happened. Every time. And I believed God was punishing me. God was showing me I was doing something wrong, and he was teaching me a lesson. We get into the Uber, and once again, Pan's trying to make things better. Touch my hand, touch the side of my face, kiss me, be tender. But I was like, no. I just wasn't feeling it. And I couldn't hide it. And all of the faking I had done before it went out the window at that moment. I could not hide what I was feeling. He could tell I was pissed. We get to the airport, board our flight, fly home. All three, very awkward, very uncomfortable. And once we land in Chicago, I tell Pan I need a moment to just think. And I didn't expect him to give it to me, but he did. He's like, okay, fine. Don't take too long, but take a couple of days. And I'm even thinking to myself, when he said a couple of days, I'm like, I don't even know if it's going to be a couple of days, honey. I don't know if we're ever going to speak again. The next day, Nadine comes to pick me up. Sadly, things hadn't gotten any better with Nadine and Masadi at that time. So Nadine and I were pretty much in the same boat. Nadine tells me, well, I'm sorry to add to this, okay? Because I don't want to do that to you right now, but something feels off with Masadi, right? And she goes on to tell me that, he's working a lot. He's making a lot of money now. And I'm like, why is that a bad thing? She goes, yeah, but not if it's going to find them in prison. What? I'm like, what? Prison? What are we talking about right now? What do you mean they're going to end up in prison? And Nadine goes, can we just go over there and see? And I'm like, go over where and see? And she says, let's go to Pan's house and see, because Masadi's over there. He already told me he's over there. I just want to see what they're doing. And Nadine goes, can we just go over there? I just want to see. And I'm like, see what, girl? What are we looking for? And Nadine says, well, I'll know when I see it. Now, you can only imagine what this was doing to me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on right now? All I'm thinking at this moment is, oh my God, are we dating drug dealers? Oh, so many thoughts. So many thoughts are going through my head as we're driving over. And I'm telling Nadine, and Nadine keeps insisting, girl, I'll know when I see it. And then I'll let you know. I don't want to bother you right now with everything you just said. And I'm sorry I have to do this to you, because my anxiety was building, guys. So it wasn't helping. We leave and drive over to Pan's place, where I had been several times before. So I was very aware of what it looks like and everything. So we get there, we're driving down the block, and the entire garage was lined with cars. Okay? Lined with them. The grass, lined with cars. The front of the area of his house, lined with cars. I mean, it was a full house, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And Nadine goes, I knew it. And I'm like, Nadine, this is the time that you want to tell me what the fuck is going on right now. Is this guy Pablo Escobar? Are they cheating on us? What is going on right now? Right? And Nadine goes, Faiza, I did not want to be the one to tell you something like this, okay? And you can ask Pan to give you more details. But what I'm going to tell you is that these guys get their money doing house parties, drinking and doing a whole bunch of other stuff there that I'm not going to go into. And, oh my gosh, you guys. I was fucking floored. I could not believe it. I could not believe it at all. Nadine goes, I'm going to have to go take a picture of Masadi's car. And Masadi's car was flanked between two other cars, right? So I'm like, girl, you're going to go up there and take a picture? And she's like, yeah, look at the curtains are closed. They're not going to see me. Nadine comes crouching over back to the car, gets in. All I'm thinking is, alhamdulillah, let's get the fuck out of here. And she's like, and to think I was going to have a kid with this guy, to think that I was even thinking about having a kid with this guy. And she starts explaining to me how for a moment she started rethinking the divorce. And she was like, oh my gosh, he seems to be getting back on his feet. Money's doing well. She was thinking maybe this is a time she could take off of work and do less hours so she could focus on being a mother, trying to get pregnant and being a mother. And that had completely shot that out. And Nadine tells me, she says, Faiza, I'm sorry to tell you this, but Pan is a horrible influence on these guys. Like first Ryan, now Masadi, now look. And oh, it's a horrible feeling to be dating somebody that you don't really know. The next day, after an explosive, and I mean explosive, argument between Nadine and Masadi, Nadine tells Masadi she wants a divorce. And that cat's now out of the bag. Pan comes to meet up with me. Pan's broken. I mean, he's broken. He's crying. He's angry. He's just completely distraught. And all I'm thinking at this moment is, I just want to approach you and ask you questions about what the fuck these house parties are and what you're doing, especially after Miami and everything. And now I'm having to comfort you and have to, again, stay silent because this is not the moment to do it, right? I didn't feel like it was at that moment. I chose to prioritize him above prioritizing myself at that time. And I'm just trying to comfort him, trying to put his mind at ease. Nothing I seem to do work, nothing. At one point, I'm even wondering, like, why are you even here if I'm such a bother to you? If I'm not, nothing I say, nothing I do can make you feel better. Why are you here right now? He starts yelling, this is Nadine's fault. Nadine did this. She's cheating on the guy. I promise you she's cheating on the guy. And again, going on and on and on about Nadine. And I'm like, I don't believe this had anything to do with Nadine. And just as those words are coming out of my mouth, Pan starts punching the steering wheel. And, oh, guys, I was terrified at this point because the doors were locked. Child lock is on. He's punching the steering wheel. I don't know what he's going to do next, and I have no place to go. I'm stuck in this car. As he's punching and yelling, suddenly we see red and blue lights flash behind the car. And what an odd feeling to feel relief while also being afraid for the person you love. Like, that's all I'm thinking. I'm thinking, alhamdulillah, ya Rabbi, thank you for bringing the police so I know this guy won't do anything. But also, oh my gosh, I hope he doesn't get in trouble. It's such an odd feeling to be in that mentality. And Pan goes, oh shit. And we see the police officers start walking up to the car. Tap on the window. Pan puts the window down, and the officer is like, you're blocking the alley. I hadn't even realized that his car was literally right in front of the alley. And the officer asks for Pan's license, and Pan gives it. Window goes up. We're just sitting there. He tells us to hang tight. The police officer comes back towards our window. There's one by my window as well. The officer by Pan's window knocks on it, and Pan again puts the window down. The officer says, did you know that your license is expired? And Pan goes, no, I didn't notice. He says, can I have you step out of the vehicle? Oh, guys, my heart was racing. racing. They tell me to stay in the vehicle, and I hear them start cuffing Pan, which made my mind, I felt like I was going to go insane. Like I could not handle hearing the cuffs go on the wrist of the man who I loved at that time, right? Like I could not handle that. And so I'm like panicking. The officer tried to tell me to like calm down and compose myself so that I can take the car so that they would not have to have it towed. And Pan's like, yeah, babe, relax. Just meet me at the station with the car. And, oh, guys, it was traumatizing. I'm watching, again, the man I love at that time be taken into a police car, be put into the back seat. At this point, even the threesome and everything that happened in Miami, wasn't thinking about it. At all. They take him to the precinct. He gets bailed out, and I'm waiting outside. And when I see him, I just start crying. I was too blinded by love and too blinded by the fact that I didn't give two fucks about myself. This is what happens when you don't love yourself. Okay? When you don't respect yourself. When you don't truly see what you have to offer the world. This is what happens. Okay? So, no, I didn't think about everything else. I just thought about he's free. I have my man back. That's all that matters. So we just got back into the car and he drives me home as if nothing happened. Takes me right home, drops me off. I go in, night proceeds. It would take me 3 weeks before I can even find the courage to ask Pan about the house parties. To pick me up so we can get Arby's because I love Arby's. We go to Arby's. We're sitting in the parking lot eating, and I ask Pan about the house parties. I get the courage to ask him. I'm like, listen, you know that the reason that Nadine divorced Masadi is because she saw this, and that, which Pan had already known about. I didn't know he had known until that moment. He's like, yeah, Masadi told me. And he says, as long as I'm making money, that's all you have to know. And I'm like, well, is it illegal? Like, can you go to prison for this? And he says, no, I shouldn't have let it go, but I let it go. Was I worried? Yes. Very. But I was too afraid to combat it, especially after everything Pan had been through. I felt like, again, I was protecting him more than I was protecting myself. I was like, oh, he's been through so much. I don't want to put him through worse. So just let it go. That's what I did. Just let it go. Fast forward, New Year's Eve. Again. But this time, Pan is spending it working and I'm spending it with my mama. At this point, I was the last unmarried woman in the house. And let me tell you, we had a beautiful night. Really, truly. Nothing's like time with mama when it's in light, right? So me and my mom have a beautiful night. And as the countdown starts, I remember I found myself making another wish again, as I had in Miami on that star. But this time to the countdown. As I'm watching it go from 10, 9, 8, I'm praying to Allah. Ya Allah. I said, Ya Allah, bring me peace, please. Bring me a beautiful year, a magical year, one I will never, never forget. Clock strikes down. It's midnight. My mom and I hug. We're both crying. I'm crying because I just wanted so much change and I just wanted things to be so different. She gives me her blessing and she says, it's going to be a beautiful year for you. So beautiful. You'll see. And you know what? I had so much hope for 2015. So much hope. There was a part of, I really believed this could be the year. It even sounded like it. 2015 sounds like a year that would be magical. I had no idea that it would become one of the most horrible, traumatic, and unforgettable years of my life.